Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. I'd like to express my gratitude and ask permission from the Mahatheras, the Theras, the bhikkhus, samaneras, lay people, upasika, upasikas, those that are familiar and those that are maybe new, to share a few words, share a few ideas on this, the 13th of April 2024, the start of the Songkran celebrations, the New Year for a few countries, one of the New Years of the year. There are about, I think, I can count at least 5 New Years, possibly 6 New Years every year. But this is the one where we ask for forgiveness and ask for some understanding, some sense of tolerance and letting go and not making much of things. I think this is the sort of message of the New Year. So I'd like to express my gratitude for this opportunity to be here in this beautiful hall, in this lovely monastery. As I was walking up, I mentioned that about the only complaint that one can have about this place is it's difficult to make complaints about it. So it's a very lovely place and very well supported and with good practitioners throughout. So I'm very, I feel a little bit redundant, but I'm happy to be here. So I thought, as you might have noticed, I only turned up right at the start of the evening chanting. And I was walking meditation in the lobby behind. My knees aren't as robust as they once were, and I took the opportunity to do walking meditation. Walking meditation is useful, good skill to develop a good posture to be familiar with and be comfortable in. And I can remember actually in my early days of walking meditation having more pain walking meditation in my knees than in sitting meditation. So I think you have to do quite a few hours to do that, and one of the things you have to do in order to get pain in your knees walking meditation is to turn in a way that puts pressure on your knees. So what I suggest with walking meditation now, and what I do myself, and you might like to try it, a couple of things. The first is turn with the eyes, which is a strange thing to say, but to have a relaxed neck and turn, as you turn with the eyes, so that if you're turning to the right, let the left, like when you look with your left eye, let the left eye push round and turn you to the right, and then let the neck and the head turn slowly afterwards with soft knees. That I find helps. And I find it helps if I turn to the right at one side and to the left at the other, so that I'm turning both ways. And then another way that I keep a track of things is also at one end of the path I start with the right foot, and the other end of the path I start with the left foot. So, just as very simple things for whatever walking meditation you do, whatever you do with about that posture that you can do. And of course there are many things that you can do with walking meditation. But those two things I find, or two or three things I find helpful, just to stop the pain in the knees, because if I swing on my knees, I put pressure on them. So, that was the meditation instruction that you missed out on today, because on Saturdays you have meditation instruction. But and these are, with any of these talks, it's a suggestion for you to maybe receive or maybe not receive, but to notice what response happens here, what happens in the citta, what happens in the citta as you receive some sort of condition that you are sensitive to. How do you receive your life? What is the heart like as you receive something? Without thinking about it, or if you are thinking about it, what knows that thinking about it? What's making what sort of judgment about it? How is that working? How are you receiving this life in this moment? And what sort of response are you giving to that? How are you responding to this moment? These are the sort of something that can happen any time. Giving that attention. The gift of attention is something that it doesn't demand anything. It's not trying to get anything from it. It's not a getting or a gaining of something, and it's not a pushing away. It's not a trying to get rid of. It's a knowing if there is a trying to get something, or a knowing if there is a trying to push away. It's going right to the sort of heart of this life. And what to practice at this moment. And what does practice actually mean? Is this life something that knows the suffering and stresses and is giving space and attention for this to cease? Is this life generating blessings for yourself and for others? Or is it a curse? These just reflecting on a moment by moment experience. Delighting, is there a way that you can find to delight? To give delight, give light to, or find a way of enjoying, appreciating, and being with this solitude, this moment. I was, some of these chants I'm not very familiar with. The ordinary evening chanting, we don't do it very often in Portugal at all. But I have been doing it quite surprising amount for me as I've been traveling, because I've been going to different monasteries and Thai monasteries to do this chanting. And the ordinary evening chanting, and then coming here, of course, these books are particular to this monastery and the monasteries associating with it, and then it's got all sorts of extra things in it. And I think the basis of merit, I think it was the 44 or something, 30 something or something that it was. It was really, I found it, these, I don't know how many there are, the basis of merit, and then it's merit acquired by developing right view or straightening one's view. 10 grounds for obtaining merit. And then this thing of ditthi, and this thing of samma ditthi, they call the dawn of the Dhamma, or the dawn of sort of the harbinger of all things and the start of the Eightfold Path, and this assumption, and then what it's about, and one of the things that I've been considering is just that very simple thing that we do an awful lot, which is go Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. And what does that actually mean? And can one actually, there's something about that is, I think, an expression of an inclination and a holding up of something that one feels there is some way that it's possible to learn to be free from suffering. I think if Namo Tassa means anything, it means homage to the Blessed, Noble and Perfectly Enlightened One. But what does that mean? It means I actually feel that there is somebody or something that can actually reveal something perfect that is perfectly enlightened that I can learn from. And it sounds like it's something that we've done so many times that we've nearly given up thinking about it. But if I can suggest that all the times that one does it, that one actually connects with a sense of it's possible to be free from all suffering. It's possible to learn. It's possible to understand and be free from ignorance. And ignorance is the root cause of all problems. If we don't know what's going on, and if we don't know that we don't know what's going on, and we don't know that we don't know, that's the nature of ignorance, not knowing what we don't know. And it's very difficult to find out what we don't. We don't know what we don't know. And so, what is it that we don't know that we don't know? But having the humility to recognize that every problem that we come across is because we don't understand what on earth is going on. If we understood what was going on, we wouldn't make more problems for ourselves or others, because it's in our interest to not make more problems for ourselves or others. And as I've said a few times recently, very foolish people feel that they never ever make a mistake. That's an extremely foolish attitude to have, isn't it? To feel that one never has made a mistake, or one doesn't make mistakes. Or in different areas, if one feels, well, I don't make mistakes in this area, or I don't make mistakes there, it's very foolish. The next step of foolishness is not learning from mistakes and keeping repeating them. And that's foolish, because we don't know what we're up to. This is the practice of ignorance, because ignorance is not something we have, it's something we're doing. This is the suggestion. It's something we're ignoring something that's important. We're not aware of something that's important. So recognizing that we don't know what's going on, we don't know, so we make mistakes. If we're willing to learn from mistakes, this will protect our world. This is a sense of being able to acknowledge a sense of, hey, this wasn't right. I made a mistake. I didn't do that right. A sense of acknowledging an error. And the Lord Buddha always praised the acknowledging of fault, particularly of moral fault, but admitting that you made a mistake is really, really, really helpful. And of course, at this time, the response to that is to try to ask for forgiveness. A sense of forgiveness is a sense of acknowledging of fault. Asking for forgiveness is saying, look, there are things that I've done or not done, intentionally or unintentionally, in public or in private, in front of you or behind your back, by body, speech or mind, that is some way not being quite right. And in anything, sort of that sense of acknowledging a fault is always great. And then, the response to that is always that one forgives and asks for forgiveness oneself. But even within one's own life, to figure out, I make mistakes, and I want to learn from those. Very helpful to forgive others. To feel forgiven is a great ease, isn't it? To feel forgiven. And then, the bit that you really have to start forgiving is the one you live with 24 hours a day. Can you forgive yourself? No, the sense of I'm not going to carry over my sense of self-blame and get guilty about things, because guilt is never helpful. It takes it all too personally, but the sense of I can this unskillful thing I can forgive and learn from. And then, now because this last merit of acquiring or by developing right view or straightening one's views, figure out how to do that so that the approach that we have to life is one that eases suffering in the present moment for ourselves and others, and for the future. In this present moment, what are you interested in? Stress and the end of stress. Are you interested in dukkha and the end of dukkha? Where does dukkha end, and how can you stop making more dukkha for yourself and others? In all aspects of your life. Figure that one. And this is part of that is learning from the mistakes of others. That's educating yourself. If you think you never make mistakes, you're in trouble. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're in trouble. If you learn from your mistakes, you're a bit cleverer. And if you learn from the mistakes of others, you're educating yourself. And that's, straightening your view is trying to develop a view that is in accordance with the Dhamma, is leading to a sense of peace, a sense of ease, is not making more problems for yourselves and others. And part of that is actually being wary about making mistakes, wary about causing harm. The sense of otapa will protect you and protect others. So you're not making mistakes. Sense of caution around things. Not doing any things that are actually dangerous to yourself or others, because there's a sense of caution, and one part of that is recognizing how little we actually know what's going on, and taking care. Protect ourselves and protect others by protecting the Dhamma. It's the encouragement that can make your life a blessing. This is, just a few things that I wanted to talk about this evening. I'll be around a little bit, and I don't want to keep talking too much, because this idea that you can teach somebody. And I think that Rinpoche Medo is really careful nowadays. He doesn't talk about teaching, he talks about offering reflections. And I think there's a secondary school teacher who I think might have heard from Aristotle, or might have read about Aristotle. He said something like, you can't teach anybody anything. People have to want to learn. And if they'll find a way of learning, you can't actually teach anything. People have to want to learn, and then they'll find a way of learning. And some people will find a way of learning through what other people say or what other people reveal. But I also know myself, some people have tried to teach me things, and I've recognized there hasn't been the impulse to want to do it, so I haven't really done it properly. And because there's this funny thing that also I've been reflecting on. If I want to try to make somebody happy, I want to make you happy, or I want to make somebody happy, it means that I don't like you as you are. And that's really sad, isn't it? You're somehow not what I want you to do, how you want you to be. I reject that. I want to make you happy. And there's a sadness about that. It's not that you can't be happy, and it's not that you can't rejoice in things, but that sense of urgency to make somebody happy means that you're not really accepting them. And of course, the person you tried to make happy quite a lot is this one. And there's a sadness there. Because don't reject yourself. Don't try to make yourself happy. Find a happiness that's independent of conditions. And start with a sense of how things are. Don't reject yourself. Funny, isn't it? Because Buddhism is a way of happiness. It depends on happiness. It's realizing happiness at all the levels. It's not that there's not happiness in Buddhism. It is about happiness. It depends on happiness, because in order to stay with something, there needs to be a sense of happiness, there needs to be a sense of joy and all that. But if you try to make yourself do it, or make somebody do it, it means that you're putting a strange pressure on the universe that you live in. That's this one reflection. I may be completely wrong. So I don't want to make you too bad about it all. May you be well and happy. Beings wish you well. Beings have wished you well since time immemorial. Even the Lord Buddha just wished that you be free from all suffering. Didn't he? That's why I bothered to teach. And all the people who ever supported the Lord Buddha wished that you be free from all suffering. all the people who've supported, all the teachers, and all the teachers that have ever taught you, all just wish that you'd be free from all suffering. But they can't make you. You free yourself from suffering. It's going to make a lot of difficulty. And you actually wish that all beings would be free from suffering because it would make your life easier. So, I'm wishing you well, and I offer this for your consideration this evening, and if it's been a nuisance, then leave it behind, and if it's any good, then thank you.